Hello, this is Tammy with Impressors Extraordinaire, and I am going to show you a card today that I'm calling the Gilded Leafing Easter Butterflies card. And if you're interested in the list of supplies, just find them under the descriptions of this video. You can also find it on my blog at impressorsextraordinaire.blogspot.com, and I will answer any questions that you have through any of the media sites, either the YouTube place or my blog, or you can go to my website, tammyrundle.stampinup.net, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, and I'd love to see your comments. So let's go ahead and get started. And I want to discuss the components of the card first. You'll start with your card base, and I wanted to make this card a little bit bigger because I wanted to do something kind of dramatic with it. So I have, the base is 11 inches by 5.5 inches, and it'll fold to a 5.5 inch card, and I've scored at 2 3/4 and 8 1/4. And then I've gone ahead and folded it and burnished it with my bone folder. And then I have, let me set that aside, I have these rectangles and these rectangles, which I've used the stitch rectangle framelets, or dies as we call them now. And so this die goes with this, and this die goes with this. And so this is 4 dies down. I don't know, is that off screen? Sorry about that. 4 dies down for this one. And then this one is over on this set. It's the largest one in this set. All right, so I went ahead and pre-cut the pieces. I'm sure you've used a die cutting machine before, and if you have not, just message me and I'd be happy to walk you through it. The Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is the die cutter that we have available now, but any die cutting machine will work. So just let me know if you have any questions about that. So I've gone ahead and I have cut those. And I've cut these. These will be on the inside of the outside of the card. These will be on the inside, and we'll go ahead and get that taken care of, and I'll show you how to do all of the stamping and so on. But like I said, I wanted to showcase the gilded leafing. Oh, and this little piece here, this is for the sentiment, on the sentiment in the card. So let me show you my card again. So it looks like this. So you can see the larger rectangles on the front that are lined up in the center of the card. And then my 2 smaller ones with the sentiment, and then there's that little piece with the second sentiment. And then I have gilded a butterfly too, so I'll show you that as well. All right, on with the gilding. I don't know if that's the right verbiage, but anyway, on with the process. The first thing that I'm going to show you is how to add the gilded leafing to the colored butterflies. And so I am using the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set with the dies. So it comes in a bundle if you would like, or you can buy them separately, but you do get a 10% discount if you buy the bundle. And the bundle of dies actually has 2 full sets of dies, and we're going to use both. We'll use the collage-like dies, and we'll also use this large butterfly. This I'm going to use to cut out the vellum butterfly that's on the inside of the card. So I've got my Stamparatus here, and you've seen me use this before. This is a tool that I don't think I can live without now that I have it. It is the neatest tool. And what we're going to do with it today is stamp and restamp. I have pre-cut a template using some leftover dark cardstock because I want to see my butterflies that are underneath this. And so I'll place my butterfly designer paper, the Butterfly Bijou designer paper. Well, I think I should probably do it this way. That way I can orient myself better. And then I'll place the template over the designer paper and add my magnets. And you don't have to do this, the template. You could totally do it without the template, but I find that it's easier to line everything up and make sure that you get a good stamping where you want it. So then I'm going to take my stamp from my bundle and I'll lay it in the template, and then I can actually feel that the butterflies are where they need to be. And then I'm going to bring the top plate of my Stamparatus over so that I can get the stamp stuck to the plate. And then I need to take some Versamark ink and Versamark ink is a clear, very thick, very tacky ink, and it is perfect for embossing. And just ink it up really well. And eventually, I'm going to add a thing called heat and stick powder. Oh, so sorry, didn't mean to shake you. Heat and stick powder to the Versamark. I'm going to pour it all over it. The heat and stick powder is another adhesive that we have available to us. We had it in the catalog for several years, and then a couple of years ago we weren't able to get it anymore, but when the mini catalog came out again, voila, it was there. And it's perfect to use with the gilded leafing. All right, so I inked that up again. I just want to make sure that I've got good coverage with the Versamark ink so that it really picks up the heat and stick powder, so that it'll stick to my butterflies and they'll get some really good gold leafing on them. All right, let's go ahead and take everything apart now. Being careful not to touch where I've inked. I want to really keep that ink where it needs to be. Bring in my copy paper and set my Stamparatus aside. And then I've got some copy paper here that I'll do my sprinkling of my heat and stick powder. And I'm going to pour this all over the full butterflies. You can cut the other butterflies out too, but right now I'm just really interested in the full butterflies for my card. So just kind of rock this back and forth, getting that powder all over, and then you can obviously save that. And take your copy paper and put it back in your pot. and set that aside for the next time that I need it. And the next thing that you'll want to do, it looks like I made a bit of a mess. Hang on just a second. Save that for the next one. So what you'll want to do next is take your butterflies and your heat tool. And I apologize if this gets loud, but the heat tool is kind of a noisy guy, but he works so cool. He melts the heat and stick powder, and that way when we dip it into our gilded leafing, it will adhere to the butterflies. So here we go. When you use the heat tool, make sure that you turn it on and just get it to the point where it's really, really hot. Because the one thing you want to do is avoid heating up the powder for long periods, because it decreases the effectiveness of the stickum in the powder. And then when you see the powder starting to melt, then move your heat tool. I don't know if you can see it melting, but see if I can move that closer. And get it all melted. All right, turn your tool off. And the next thing you want to do is bring in your gilded leafing. And I have put mine in this huge container, and being very careful not to disturb it with a lot of air rushing by or blowing it into it, because the gilded leafing is very fine and it will flutter and fly away at the smallest little movement. So I put my butterfly piece with my butterflies down, and I'm pressing all of that gold leafing onto my butterflies, and then I'm taking a sponge, and it seems kind of messy, but it's really kind of really cool. It's kind of satisfying to see how my butterflies are picking up that gold. Look at that. Woohoo! So pretty. So just work it. Get that leafing, everything that's not melted, into the heat and stick powder. It'll be a bit abstract when you're finished, but it's so pretty. Kind of tap it a little bit. Do you see how the gold is going everywhere? Yeah, you'll find it all over your craft room from here to there, but it's beautiful. So it's kind of a happy little thing. All right. So there are your butterflies. And I'm going to cover this up. We'll come back with it in just a few minutes because I've got those other things that we need to do with the gilded leafing. But what I want to do next is take my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and cut those butterflies out. So here's my machine. And put my platform on there and make my sandwich. Put my butterflies on here. And then come back with that collage type die. In my Butterfly Brilliance bundle. And lay it on there. And get it set so that everything is lined up. Bring my cutting mat in to complete my sandwich. And then run it through. And take everything apart. Remove the background. And look. Oh, How pretty are these? So gorgeous. This one's going to go on the inside of the card. That's the big one that I'll put the vellum butterfly on. And then that little guy and this little guy will go inside. Or, sorry, on the front of the card. All right. Let me move my machine. And then I'm going to bring in my vellum butterfly, and I've already pre-cut this. So I've got my vellum butterfly that I cut with the large single die. And I am going to take my Versamark ink and just ink it all over. And it's okay if you bend him and fold him because you want some dimension with him once he goes inside your cards, so you're good. It's the thing I love about vellum. It's nice and thick and you get a lot of dimension with it. So I've got my Versamark all over my butterfly. And then again, I want to take my copy paper that I used before and my heat and stick powder and just pour this all over him. Just get him covered in it. And get rid of the excess. Set him aside for a minute. And then again, conserve the rest of your heat and stick powder. And then we'll come back with one more project with the heat and stick powder in just a few minutes. But I want to go ahead and grab my butterfly and melt him, or melt his heat and stick powder anyway. See if we can keep him from flying off the paper. Do you see that melting? Oh, hello. You want to get it all melted, but not, you don't want to heat it for too long. Come back. I did have some little forceps, but I guess I decided not to use them. All right, so bring the leafing back in, carefully taking out the lid so don't disturb it too much. And take your butterfly and lay him sticky side down in your leafing. And look, he looks like a crazy creature. But you're going to take your sponge again and you're going to get rid of all the loose stuff. Kind of. Fingers are going to be messy. So just kind of rub out all the detail. And play with him and get him all beautified. This is so much fun using this stuff. When I saw, as demonstrators, we get to see the catalog a little bit before all of our customers do. And so Shelley and Sarah were demonstrating this product, and I'm like, wow, I believe I have to have that. And how many times do you guys say that? Have to have it. Have to have it. All right. So I've got my Gilded leafed butterfly. Kind of shake off my fingers there without causing too much of a disturbance. And get my lid back on. And I want to do, I want to go ahead and, oh look, some leafing. Oh, you can't see it because it's off camera, but some leafing is up on my desk. But anyway, I'll have to catch that and put it back in there in a little bit. I'm going to take this butterfly that I had done earlier with the designer paper, and then I'll take my vellum butterfly, and using the multi-purpose liquid glue, take the glue and put it just on his body, because when it's on the inside of the card, I want to keep the wings free to give the butterfly some movement. And then just stick that together and set it aside. And then bring in the last components with the leafing, which will be the 2 rectangles for the front of the card. So just doing one at a time, because you want your heat and stick powder that you've melted to not lose its effectiveness. So I find it's best right after you've heated it up to stick it in your gilded leafing. So with my stamp that I'm using from Positive Thoughts, it's the leaf stamp here, I am going to ink it with Versamark again. And stick that on there like that. I'll go ahead and ink up the leaves with the Versamark, because Versamark actually will stay moist for quite some time if you haven't heated it. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up, but I'll do the heat and stick powder separately. All right, so I've got my leaves inked. Grab my heat and stick powder with my paper again. And pour it on there. And pour it back into my canister. Just kind of wipe off the excess. Tap it a little bit. And then bring your heat tool in, and being careful not to blow it toward your powder, because the powder obviously will go everywhere. Let's see if I can melt this. So melt your heat and stick powder again. And as soon as you see it melting, move that heat tool around. And then move this out of the way. Momentarily. Bring in your gilded leafing again. Lay your piece sticky side down, making sure that you get it everywhere. And then using your sponge again, sponge off the excess leafing. And it does not have to be perfect. You want it a little bit abstract. At least I do. And it's one of those things, it's your card, you do it your way, right? All right, so let me Move that leafing off to the side. Put the lid back on because I don't want to blow it with my heat tool. And then come back in with my other piece and put my heat stick powder on it. And now I'm going to put this away because this will be the last gilding, I guess, gilded leafing that I do for the card. This gilded leafing, it comes in this container when you order it. So it doesn't look like it would be as much as it is in that big container. That container's like a 10 by, I don't know, 8 container or something. Maybe even bigger than that. But this stuff like, whoof, it like poofs up when it gets loose. So that's why I'm using such a big, well, I guess I don't need it yet, such a big container. Go ahead and heat your powder again. And once it's melted, bring your leafing back in and do this one. Again, sticky side down. And brush it off. So much fun. Gosh, you have got to get yourself some. It is just like, I can't even describe how fun it is to do this. It's kind of magical. All right. So I've got my pieces for my card. Go ahead and close everything up now. And then I'm going to do a little bit more stamping because I need to stamp the inside pieces of my card. So let me bring in those pieces and get that done. You guys can come over here. All right. So I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink for this part of the project. And I've got my flowers that I'll stamp, and they're from the Dragonfly Garden stamp set. I'm using these flowers here. And then my sentiments are going to be from the Field of Flowers stamp set. And I'm using the Always and the Thinking of You. All right. Let's go ahead and do our sentiments first. So I've got the Memento ink. Ink that up really well. And place it on here. And then come back in with this other sentiment, and I'm actually going to put it on the other piece of cardstock. Thinking of You. Just going to stamp that right there. My paper snips and cut that off. Get all my card pieces together and then we'll put this thing together for you. All right. I think I'm going to cut off this little end too. All right. And then I'll glue that to that. Then I'll bring in the flowers. And again with the black ink. Ink that up really well. That looks pretty good. And this is such a pretty flower. And I thought about colorizing these after I stamped it with the black outline. But I thought, you know, I just really like the black on white. So I left it like that. So there's that. Put those things aside real quick. All right. And so here are my components of my card. Oh, and also you're going to use a piece of the ribbon, the Ornate Garden ribbon. It comes in a set of 2 ribbons. You get the, I think this is Tangerine Tango maybe? And then this is Old Olive, and we're going to use the Old Olive. And you'll need a piece that's 24 inches. So let me go ahead and measure that. Got 16 and another, 8? And cut that off with my snips. All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and do the front first. And when I put this card together, I'm using my multi-purpose adhesive. And I want to lay this card down, and I want to center this piece at the 3/4 inch mark. And then it's fairly well centered. I don't know, you can't see the measurements, but it's at the 3/4 inch mark. So there's 3/4 on the top and the bottom. So go ahead and put some liquid glue on it. I use this stuff all the time. Love it. Can't say enough good about it. So line it up again. And it's going to be about, 1/8 of an inch from each edge, from this edge, and then 3/4 of an inch from the top and the bottom. And then you're going to do the same thing with the second piece, only you can just line it up with the one that you've just done. All right, let's bring that in. Ta-da! Give that a good press. And then we need some butterflies. So I'm using the 2 smaller butterflies from where I did the gilded leafing on the Stamparatus. So I'll take those and kind of bend them up because I want some dimension on the front of the card too. And then I will glue them down with, guess what? The multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'll put one here. Wow, my butterfly shot off. He decided to fly away. And then just kind of bend his wings up. Grab your other butterfly, and while he's drying, stick your second one down on the other side. Ta-da! There. And so let's do the inside next. Just kind of lay things out. I think before I lay things out, I'll go ahead and put my thinking of you on the always piece. Oh, look, it's upside down. Oh, and it too jumped. Wow, everything's really mobile today. All right, so stick that down right in the corner. And then kind of lay everything out. Let's put this here. And I think this here, just to give it some interest. So it's not like all square and boxy. And by this time, my glue hopefully has dried on the body of my butterfly. So I've ended up with this beauty. How cool is that? And then I'm going to put him right there. So let's go ahead and start gluing. I want this down about 3/4 of an inch from the top, it looks like, and maybe 3/8 of an inch from the left side. So let's do that piece first. That looks pretty good. And then put my glue on this piece because it's going to lay on top of the flowers a little bit. Go up like that, I think. Get it straight if I can. And then I put glue all over the back. Look at the pretty back. Ooh, I love that designer paper. Like I said, you're going to have to get some and check it out. It's the Butterfly Bijou 6x6. There's a special offering. If you order it this month, this paper is available. Once this month passes, once March passes, the paper is no longer available. And so the designer series paper, let's see if I can give you, well, you know what? This is all going to be in the description on my video, but I'll see what I can do regarding giving you the order number. It is 156824, and then the Butterfly Brilliance bundle with the dies and the stamp set is item number 155821. But like I said, it's going to be in the instructions on my video under the description of the project. All right, so let's get him stuck down. And that's it. So we'll close him for right now. And the next thing I want to do is show you the closure of the card, or at least the layover of the card. I have put these two things on here, Happy Easter, that I die cut from the Word Wishes dies. Word Wishes comes in a bundle of these dies and then 2 stamp sets. So it's a really, really, really good deal. If you want a lot of sayings, a lot of sentiments, and dies that cut, all of those things, you want those. So I have cut 5 each of the Happy and the Easter. I've gone ahead and layered my Happy, and I'll show you where I put that in a minute, but I just wanted to show you about the Easter. Same thing with the Easter. So I've got 4 there already. And the reason that I made them thicker is I wanted them to stand up to the card being opened multiple times, because it just may be. Hopefully my mommy will like it. She's who's going to be the recipient of it. And just put your multi-purpose adhesive all over here. And then it's going to lay right on top of the other 4. All right. Come here. Just lay it right on there. If it doesn't stick to your hands. Sometimes my fingers work better on one day than they do another day. Do you guys have that issue? There. All right. Got it. So we've got a nice thick sentiment. Got some dimension and some interest there. So bring your card back in and then take your happy and just do like the first P, do the leg of it, and then your H and your A. And you're only going to stick this to half your card. That way the card will open. And I'm going to put it right here. And do the same thing with Easter. I think I'm going to do the half of the S and then the E and the A. So you've got your card pretty much completed. There's the inside again. See if I can let that sit down a little better. Want to add some matte black dots, 1 to each corner. So 1 maybe there, and 1 down here. Just kind of add in some more interest to the card. And then bring in your old olive ribbon and kind of get it centered over the ribbon. That's not too bad. Not too bad. And then, wish me luck as I try to tie this into a bow. Do you guys have trouble tying bows? Sometimes my bows look great. Sometimes they need a lot of help. But hey, it's the thought that counts, right? All right. So there we go. And where is the other end? Oh, look, it went through. Sorry, let me try that again. What did I say about some days it goes really well and my bows look good, and other times, yeah, it's never the same thing twice, which makes the projects unique, just like you. All right, there. Hey, that turned out pretty good. Cool. All right, And that is my card for you. I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said in the description in my video and also on my blog, you will find all of the ingredients in my instructions. So I'm at impressorsextraordinaire.blogspot.com and at tammyrundle.stampinup.net. So you have a glorious day. Make some beautiful cards. And while you're at it, it's free shipping today. It's March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Get your gilded leafing and have fun. I'll see you next time.